Thank you very much for coming and taking part in the Diversity Lab show. Today we are going to focus, surprise, surprise, on Christmas, and we have three ladies in the studio representing different countries and different cultures. Jules, would you be able to introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Jules and I'm from Russia. In Russian my name is Yulia. I lived in Belfast for 17 years. I came here as a child when I was 11 and I was in boarding school, and I just really liked Belfast, so I decided to stay here.
Thank you. Darlene?
My name is Darlene, and Darlene Beatty, and I'm originally from Philippines. I've been here in Northern Ireland for nearly 16 years now, and yes, I'm from Philippines.
Thank you. And Candela?
My name is Candela Valle. I'm from Galicia, a region in the north of Spain. And I came here nearly 2 years ago with an internship to get some work experience as journalist. And I love the city, so I decided to continue here for a while and until now.
Before this show, we had a conversation about different approach to Christmas in different countries. I know, Jules, that people in Russia celebrate Christmas around different days. Would you please be able to explain us more about this?
Of course. In Russia, according to the sort of religious calendar, actual Christmas is around the 6th and the 7th of January. And I think it's the old Georgian calendar that the Russian Orthodox Church follows. So during that time, Christmas is more of a religious holiday. It's like Easter. It's not very, it's not a celebration for families. It's more about going to church and being religious. During communist regime in Russia, when it used to be USSR, all religion was completely banned and forbidden and was illegal, so Christmas wasn't really celebrated, and I think it still kind of lingers, that sort of idea. So a lot of people instead celebrated the New Year's, and it's like Russian Christmas, you know, the traditions that are in the West are similar to the Russian sort of New Year's, what people do on New Year's night.
So you don't celebrate Christmas on the 24th, 25th and 26th of December, is it right?
Not at all, no. Okay,
thank you. Darlene, you said something quite interesting about celebrating Christmas in Philippines. It's not, your celebrations are much longer than in other countries. I know that you're starting to celebrate Christmas in September. Why is that? Could you tell us more about your celebration?
Well, Christmas in Philippines is the most important holiday of the year. It's actually more important than birthdays, because this is the time for to celebrate our Lord's birth, and majority of Filipinos are Christians. So we would celebrate our Christmas by the time when the month ends with Bear, which is September. And you can hear Christmas carol from that time on the radio, and people are starting to put up their Christmas lanterns. Our Christmas would basically finish until the 6th of January, which is, and the, the New Year is like a bonus. So it is long, yeah.
Candela, you mentioned that you also celebrate Christmas in a slightly different fashion. Back in Spain. Would you please tell us more about your celebration?
Yeah, well, our Christmas started more or less at the beginning of December with our lottery, I think, advert. It's one official. We have all the Christmas carol, all the campaigning, television and everything. So our main days are the 25th of December, of course. With Christmas we have dinner together. It's a really home day. And then New Year's, end of the year, have a big party. We celebrate it in a really special way, eating 12 grapes in the last 12 seconds of the year. And then, well, we have our end of Christmas, that is the 6th of January, when we got the presents. For us, it's not Santa. Well, Santa is beginning to be famous because of the adverts and all television and international influence in Spain. But our traditional day is the 6th with the 3 wise men who bring the presents to the kids in Spain.
So the 6th of January is the most important day during the Christmas period?
No, the 25th is also really important, and end of the year. Also the 6th, we have 3 days that are really important. Yeah.
I'm coming from Poland, and for us Christmas is the most important event in a 12 months period. It's very family orientated, but it's a time when we reflect on things. It's not very joyful period of time for us. What is approach to Christmas in Russia? Would you actually celebrate Christmas? Is it a fun period, or is it a period where you just try to stick to your family, stay with your family, and just also reflect on the year passing by?
If you're very religious and you're celebrating actual Christmas on the 6th of January, you would go to church, and it would be more, like you said yourself, more time for reflection and being religious. But on New Year's night, which is when we celebrate being with family and having good food and lots of drinks and obviously presents, because everybody always asks me, but do you not get presents for Christmas? And I said we do, but we get them for New Year's. So when people in Belfast give me presents and I don't open them until New Year's, they get very offended. But traditionally, I just think it's wrong to open them before New Year's night.
Darlene, yeah, I can imagine, how you celebrate Christmas in the Philippines. By knowing the Filipino community and knowing people from the Philippines, I know that you really like to celebrate your events in a very joyful way. So how you celebrate Christmas? Is it something which you really have fun with, or is it? Do you have a time to reflect as well?
It's a time of giving. It's more important to give than to receive on that time. And yeah, family gather, and there's a Christmas reunion. And our highlight would be the 24th of December, where we would share with the family all the good foods. And it's not just food, it's really, the table is this long, and it's got all the goodies. We go to church during that time, which Catholics would have this, we call it Simbang Gabi, or night masses. We have the 9 night masses towards Christmas, which starting on the 16th of December, where we would go to, if you're a Catholic, you would go to the church at 4 a.m. with the family, and then you go to the church, and you would notice all the churches there are filled. Thousand and depend on the church, but sometimes even if the church is small, the crowd would be outside just to listen to the to the mass at 4 a.m. Philippines is colonized by Spaniards, so Spanish brought Christianity to the Philippines. So actually our Christmas is called Pasko, and the root word comes from Spanish, which is Pascua Navidad. And I think most of our tradition is all like Spanish related. So there's a relations there between Spaniards and Philippines.
Candela, and what about yourself? How you celebrate Christmas in Spain? I know, after being so many times in Spain, that you really like to party and you really like to stay together with your family and friends.
Yeah.
And you really know how to do it. So, could you tell me more about your celebrations?
Yeah, well, Christmas is really a time to be at home with family, but also to celebrate with your close friends. It's true that here you used to have the Christmas dinner, well, in Belfast, the 25th, but we do it the day before. So we have dinner with our family, and used to be a a day to spend with your family. The next day, the 25th, you go and have lunch again with your family. But then in the end of the year, you used to have dinner, with your family, eat the grapes, celebrate the end of the year, and then go out with your friends. So you go out maybe at 1 in the morning or 2 to party and celebrate the end of the year, and you end on the 1st of January eating chocolate with churros. Okay. And maybe at 8 in the morning or something like that. So you used to spend the 1st of January sleeping most of the day. And yeah, you have again lunch with your family and everything. And the last important day is the 5 and 6. That is the day of the 3 wise men. So that's a day more of, instead of family, being with friends or really close friends of the family.
In Poland, actually, we're starting to celebrate Christmas on the 24th, which is the most important time for us because we organize our Christmas Eve. On that day, we don't eat meat at all, and we have to prepare 12 dishes. And during the Christmas Eve, you have to try all of them. If you don't try 12 dishes, you're going to have a bad luck. Well, it's quite difficult, and as I said, we don't eat meat. We basically have a fish. We cook our famous beetroot soup, which is czerwony barszcz in Polish. We also eat, for example, noodles with honey and poppy seeds. Would you have any specific dishes or cuisine which you prepare just for Christmas or for Christmas Day, for Christmas Eve?
In Russia, it'd be more for New Year's, so there are kind of traditional dishes that I think most families wouldn't go without, and they're all pretty weird for people outside of Russia. I think the standard ones would be this kind of salad, and my granny used to make it all the time. It was lots and lots of vegetables like beetroot, potatoes, and at the bottom would be a fish, and it was called fish in fur coat, and it's a salad. So I couldn't imagine, like New Year's, Christmas without that. And but like you were saying, in the Philippines, the same way in Russia, the table is just covered. There's so much stuff. Usually people would eat it during the New Year's night, and then the next day. Well, probably eat it for the next 3 days or so. So you're, because everybody's hungover after drinking so much vodka, they just, they can't be bothered cooking, so they just end up, eating the leftovers. And but I think some people would have their own traditions. There's never really a thing, such symbolic thing like turkey. In Belfast, for example, there's just something that most families, would kind of invent themselves. And there are some standard dishes that people maybe would have seen on TV. There's a really famous Russian film. It's a New Year's film, and it's always shown on the 31st of December. And usually whatever they had in the movie, the salads that they had, people would always also make just to keep up with the tradition. I
found plenty of similarities between Russia and Poland because we don't drink vodka on the 24th, but we drink vodka on the 25th, and you start with your family around the table during your dinner, and then you go out and you drink vodka with your friends. So yeah, and we cook plenty, so we make sure that we're going to have food for another 2-3 days, and possibly because of the same reason. Yeah. Darlene, what about Philippines? Well, you're coming from a totally different continent, and you're coming from Philippines are based in a totally different climate. What about food? What's so special about food in Philippines during the Christmas time?
Most of the household would have a big roasted pig in the table on that day. Usually in the grandparents' house, it is held. So you can imagine that there's a lot of food there. There's a lot of people, and we would share our food with even the neighbors would come together and taste the others, how the food from the other house, So yes, and there's a cheese, which is it's a bola de queso, which is It's also traditional that we have that in our table during that day, during the Christmas celebration. Yeah, and then we would, this is happening on the midnight of 24th that we start to eat. So like her, we would eat until such time, until we drop, basically, anyway. Yes, and like the Spain, we have the tradition that we have to have 12 fruits in the new year, which represent from January to December, meaning to say we will not go without during the whole year. It's just like a belief.
Candela, you already mentioned about grapes, you already mentioned chocolate. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about?
The main things, or the most famous things for Christmas, are the desserts. We have turrón, that is a kind of dessert. There are a lot of types. Some are for chocolate or almonds or whatever. It's a kind of dessert you only have on Christmas. Then in the 6th we eat it's a kind of cake for the three wise men. So it have inside a little present, and the person in the family who bring the piece of the cake with the present inside will have luck for the rest of the year. So it's also something curious. But yeah, mainly is the desserts. Yeah.
And what's your favorite dish around this period of time? What would you actually make sure it's there, it's on your table?
I think everything, yeah. But for example, my parents used to send me parcels with food every 3 months or something like that, with ham and, well, a lot of things. This last parcel came with turrón, and I already finished it. But yeah, I really like it. Yeah, you can't have a Christmas without turrón, for example. Is something that you have to have at home for all the Christmas period.
I would like to ask you about Christmas in Northern Ireland. Are there any traditions you would actually introduce, or would you be happy to introduce any local traditions back in your own country? For example, my tradition, which I decided to introduce this year in Poland, because I'm going to spend Christmas with my family back in Poland, is actually a Christmas jumper. When I came to Northern Ireland, I found this really cheesy, and I couldn't understand why people around Christmas time, especially beginning of December, are starting to wear silly jumpers, which are, focusing on Christmas. This is actually my first Christmas jumper ever. I got it 2 years ago, and I decided to wear it today because I'm going to buy more Christmas jumpers for my family members back in Poland, and I hope they're going to enjoy it. Is there anything else, for example, you, Jules, would like to bring back to Russia, introduce to your family or friends?
I've actually spent quite a lot of Christmases in Belfast because obviously I don't have to go and see my family during Christmas because they're at work on the 25th of December in Russia. So I would just go to random people's house, and I think I've been to about at least 5 different Christmases, and they all have very different traditions. So I think in Russia, during Christmas everybody has to dress, or during New Year's everybody has to dress up and wear really fancy clothes and look really glamorous, and I like comfort. I'm not a fan of fancy dresses and kind of high heels and all that. So a lot of the families I spent Christmas with in Belfast would just wear pajamas the whole day. So I think that's a nice tradition. So my dad would love it as well. So I think it'd be nice to just be comfortable at New Year's and just kind of wear whatever you liked, and not really fuss about wearing the right color or just kind of looking too fancy, because at the end of the night you don't look that glamorous anyway. So.
Yeah, I really like the Christmas jumper thing. When I arrived here, I found it weird and I don't know. But now I found it funny and it's a good fun. But Yeah, maybe that, and also the Christmas crackers. I spent Christmas last year with a family from here, and I found really funny the thing of, well, the crackers with all your family and read the jokes and whatever. Well, it's a curious thing to have something more to speak about and maybe both some and bring it to Spain. I think they wouldn't understand anything, but I find it funny. But no, I think in Spain, Galicia, Christmas have more things. You know, I found it here more than about shopping and presents and all that. And back there is more about family and enjoy together. Yeah, kind of religious too. I found it there more special.
Funny you said that, because actually when I'm here I don't necessarily celebrate Christmas, because I know that actually in Poland we have a slightly different approach to Christmas. It's more traditional. Here I think people forgetting about this, you know, about traditions, and it's much more commercialized. Even like when, you know, from the beginning of December, shops are open long hours, and if you would like to go and do shopping in the city center in Belfast, it's packed. You can't find a car park, and you know, shops are occupied by people. One of my favorite traditions in Poland is to share a waffle with my family on the 24th before we sit down to have our Christmas Eve dinner. We pick a very thin piece of waffle, and each member of the family has its own piece. You basically, you know, the tradition is to go and share wishes with members of your family, and you also share a waffle. At the end, you just eat all the pieces you gathered from other people, and this is the way how you basically, you know, integrate with your family. When I was a child, I really hated it. At the moment, I think there is something special and something very emotional and powerful in sharing wishes with your family in a very sort of personal way. I also, before we started the show, I asked you to bring an item which would be in relation to Christmas in your home country. I know that you brought a Dziad Moroz, which is a Russian Santa. Can you actually explain us more about him?
Yes, the Russian Santa, Dziad Moroz, which means Father Frost, he's not commercialized by Coca-Cola, so he doesn't wear a red coat. He wears white or green, sometimes red, but it's nothing to do with being commercial. So he would bring presents. I think the one I brought, it's a very old one that I obviously broke a little as a child, so he's got a replacement stick, and he's missing a bag of presents that he used to have. So, because I think I just used them as a toy when I was a child. He also usually has a wee companion. I guess sort of like there's no elves or anything like that. There's no reindeers. He doesn't climb through a chimney. He just comes in as a spirit through the window. So. He actually has a companion. It's his granddaughter, and she's called Snegurочка, which I think means like something like snow girl or sort of like that. And they basically bring presents to the kids.
Darlene, what is your item? Can you tell us more about your item?
Well, I brought this Christmas parole or parole. It's one of the lanterns that we would hang in our house during the Christmas time, and this represents the Northern Star. The parole that I brought today is already modernized, but I remember when I was growing up, we would make it from the bamboo sticks, and then we'd wrap it different colors, usually green or red, and we would make it sparkly. And yeah, it's tradition that we have those.
To finish our conversation, can I ask you to say Merry Christmas, or in your case, Happy New Year in your native language?
Yep, it's с Рождеством и Новым годом.
Thank you, Darlene.
Yes, maligayang Pasko sa lahat. Maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon from the Filipino community.
And yourself, Candela?
Feliz Navidad y Feliz Año Nuevo. or as we will say in Galician, Feliz Navidade, Bon Nadal, and Bo Ano.
Wesołych świąt i szczęśliwego Nowego Roku, which means Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in Polish. Thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you here today, and it was quite interesting to hear stories about Christmas and your Christmas traditions coming from your own community and your own countries. Thank you very much, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.